Hi everyone and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Adobe Live with our special sessions in partnership with D&AD. So you're used to seeing us by now. We've been receiving some fantastic guests over here who are joining in from the creative industry for a little chat on Behance. So if you've been watching on YouTube, you're missing out because we're chatting on Behance through our live chat. Come and join us through there. And we'll be today speaking to Caroline Pay, who's joining us as CCO of Mindspace. How are you doing, Caroline?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. You're joining us actually quite early from California. Coffee in hand or tea?
Still dark outside.
Very dark, yeah. So we'll see the sunrise, as you said, throughout the session. But we also have Gavin with us. On this side of the stream, we've seen you with Tony Harmer on our traditional lunchtime slot. So thanks for joining us as a co-host.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I'll let you introduce yourself actually a little bit as well for the community who doesn't know you on this end, Gavin, and then we'll kickstart the session with Caroline. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you'll be involved in this creative chat.
So I'm a freelance illustrator based in the UK. I've been doing this a number of years now. I think nearly 20 years I've been doing this for. And I've been working with the Adobe team since 2014, doing various talks and events. So yeah, it's all good fun, and I'm here to fire a few questions at Caroline, as I'm very interested in the meditation space. I actually have been involved in this myself. Me and my wife like to meditate, so you know this is very interesting for me. I've got a few questions for you, so I'm looking forward to it.
I love this, and we're international as well today, based in the UK, and we have obviously the US, and I'm in Germany. So I love this magic of streaming. Bring us together. But as you said, Gavin, I'm really excited for this topic. It's quite close to my heart as well in terms of creativity, mindfulness, and you know, health and happiness in general. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how we're going to be touching on, how technology is, changing our modern lives. So on to you, Caroline, if you can please introduce yourself to everyone watching. And in the meantime, I'll open up Behance and say hi to everyone.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Caroline. I am coming at you live from LA. It's very early in the morning, so forgive me if I keep slurping my coffee at the beginning of the talk. Should I get started with my presentation, Emma? Let's do it.
Sure, go ahead.
So today I'm going to talk to you about what we've been up to at Headspace. I have been there just over 2 years, and it's been a huge opportunity for me. So let's go. I was just going to get myself out the way so you know who the hell was talking to you. So I am a Croydon-born 45-year-old single mum of an 11-year-old superstar. I spent 20 years in advertising, kicking off at Kessels Kramer in Amsterdam. And then I basically bounced around from Mother to BBH to Widens to Karmarama, popped off and had a baby. Went back to Mother, went back to BBH, and then ended my my time in the industry with some very, very happy days at Grey. Then in the summer of 2018, everything changed. I got divorced, I moved country, career, industry, everything. And now I am a California living, SUV driving, hiking, dog owning, slide wearing CCO at Headspace. I do have slides on. And my puppy is asleep here on the sofa here, so she might make an appearance at some point.
Love it.
So the first thing I thought that we should do, which is what we do at Headspace every morning together, and also at the beginning of any big meeting, is that we actually do a meditation. So we're going to do a meditation live on the stream today. Don't be scared. It's not weird, I promise. I've just got us a 3-minute meditation, and it will just get you kind of in the zone, really, to relax and focus and listen. I just wanted to kind of caveat really that you know, as a quite highly strung British person, I found meditating quite odd at first, especially when I joined Headspace. And sometimes I'd find myself with like 100 other people meditating in the same room at the same time. And just the idea of closing my eyes in front of other people was really strange to me. So it's going to feel strange to you probably today when you're sitting alone at your computer. But bear with me, because it will just be a lovely experience and get us all into the right headspace. So here we go.
So just take a moment now to get comfortable. I'm going to begin with the eyes open and taking a deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you breathe out, just gently closing the eyes. And in closing the eyes, becoming more aware of the physical senses, noticing the sensation of weight, contact, pressing down. Noticing the different sounds around you. So just settling in to that space. And noticing how the body feels. Whether there's a sense of heaviness or lightness in the body. Now as you sit there, as you pause for a moment, just allow your attention to rest on the breath. That rising and falling sensation. Doesn't matter where you feel the movement. Just following that rising and falling sensation. You can place your hand on your stomach if you find it easier. So every time the mind wanders off, realizing it's wandered, and just gently bringing the attention back again. That rising and falling sensation. And then just bringing the attention back now into the body, that feeling of contact, that feeling of weight of the body pressing down. Just starting to notice the space around you again, any sounds, any smells. And then when you feel ready in your own time, just gently opening the eyes again.
For anyone that just tuned in, we weren't all asleep together. We were having a little meditation.
We've never done this before, and I feel like we should have all our streams start with
I tell you what,
now.
do you know what? One day at Headspace, I did the group meditation, and then I did 4 meetings that all started with a meditation. Like, literally floating around.
But it's like you're picking up your earlier meditation every time.
Yeah, exactly.
But before we carry on, I just wanted to ask you how, I know in the previous, just before the meditation, actually, you mentioned how you moved from London and, you know, started your kind of life in California again. And I'm just interested to hear how that experience was, especially, you know, I've lived in London as well. And I know, you know, the kind of busy, you know, buzz and the kind of atmosphere in London being very fast paced. How was that experience for you? And did that also bring a little bit of this idea of mindfulness into your life?
It's so hard to talk about life before COVID, isn't it, right? Because everything's so different now. But I'll try and cast my mind back. But, you know, something that has happened to me is that my life has just got much, much simpler. Like now I look back on my life in London and advertising, and I lived my life at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I got to everything by the skin of my teeth, and I never came up for breath. And I feel like living in California, everything just slows down and opens up a little bit. The sunshine really helps. You just tend to wake up a lot earlier. And there just seems to be like real chunks of time in the day that aren't necessarily working. And remember, I worked in advertising, right? So I did my 8 hours of work, and then I rolled into the pub every night. So there was like this, it just was the life. Whereas here I have like a life before work, a very, very busy day at work, then a whole life after work. So I think the big change was really like the opening up, the sunshine, the blue sky, the nature, but also this kind of sense that there just seemed to be more time in the day. So when I came, when I came to California and when I came to Headspace, time just seemed to slow down, which was amazing. But then when I came back to London, it was a real shock to the system. Like it felt very, very intense and very fast paced, and kind of one of the most beautiful things about London. But I've definitely slowed down. Yeah. Maybe it's age as well.
But is that meditation practice something that you had before? It was, did you start when you joined Headspace? How has that changed your day to day?
Yeah, my meditation practice started when Headspace started, because I was friends with Rich Pearson, one of the founders, because we'd worked at BBH together. Yes. And so therefore, when he met Andy and when they came up with Headspace, I was kind of this weird silent observer of the whole relationship in the beginning of the whole company. So I was really lucky to attend the first ever Headspace event at BAFTA just over 10 years ago. So that's when I first learned how to meditate, was when Andy was live on stage. I mean, it was madness because he taught 200, 300 people how to meditate over like an 8-hour period. It was so enormous and exhausting and amazing. And so that's when my meditation practice started. And so about, 5 years ago, I actually did a meditation course that allowed me to do unguided meditation as well, which started a really, really good daily habit for me of twice a day. And now, as I said before, we all meditate together at Headspace when we're together. Actually, we're still doing it together over Zoom, which is amazing. But that's just a really good kind of rhythm of behavior for me, that I get to do it every day. And the benefit is phenomenal. And when I do get days, then I get to meditate 3 or 4 times, even more so.
Very nice. Yeah, I like that this practice. I think a lot of people are beginning, and I definitely had this experience. You just lose track and find some kind of routine in meditation, and getting started. We all have this kind of fidgety life, and somehow sitting with ourselves seems to be the hardest thing. I
never did it. Yeah. I never stopped. I never did nothing. And I think like now, this discipline of, in real life, not in COVID life, in real life, my mornings are completely crazy, running around, getting myself and Buddy, my son, ready and the dog ready and getting out the door. So by the time I get to the office, having that chance just to like check in with myself and get grounded and get focused and calm down. And, it's a really ideal setup for the day. And then when you come back into the room and open your eyes again, you're like, right, let's do this.
Ready to go. Yeah. And I think we have a couple of people in the chat who've been joining in for the meditation, which is really nice. We have Steve and Rachel, and obviously Tim is here as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's keep going.
Okie dokie. So what we say at Headspace is, this is built on 3,000 years of R&D. Andy, who you see here on the right, who you've just heard his voice now, he was a Buddhist monk for 10 years and lived the monk life for 10 years. Rich on the left, a very dear and very old friend of mine, was a little pocket rocket new business superstar at BBH back in 2005. And together with both of their skills, they decided to start Headspace. And this mainly came out of the fact that, once Andy'd finished being a monk or left the monastery, he set up a clinic in London where he could work one-on-one with clients to kind of teach them the tools and techniques and to help them feel the benefits of mindfulness and meditation. And Rich was one of those clients. And once he started feeling the benefits, he was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to get this feeling and these effects out to everyone in the world. And Andy was like, cool. And that's where the business started. And as I say, it started as an events company, but with one monk and one ad man, that's not scalable. So this is our vision, is to improve the health and happiness of the world. And that's something that's written large on the walls in the business. We start most of our presentations with it, and we really remind ourselves that this is the business that we're in. And it feels, I feel very, very privileged to work for a company that's actually living up to this. We have a member promise, which is to inspire, guide, and support our members to build healthy habits that last a lifetime. And really everything we do and everything we make in the product either inspires, guides, or support you. And we bring this into the workplace as well. So as a manager, my role is to inspire, guide, and support my team, for example. Here's some numbers. I know Tim likes data. We have over 66 million people that have downloaded the product. It's used in 190 countries, and so far we've translated into 5 languages. We also have over 1,200 corporate clients. So imagine, someone like Google or someone like Adobe provide it for everyone that work there. And then Headspace is free for educators. So we have 150,000 educators on the platform as well. And that's not only for their own meditation and mindfulness practice, but also how they can bring meditation and mindfulness into the classroom. As well as being founded by a monk, another thing that really stands out about Headspace is we're the most evidence-based meditation app on the market. We have a phenomenal science team and the most brilliant chief science officer at Headspace. And we've got 27 published papers and 51 in progress, really to prove the efficacy of looking after your mind. Here are some more stats. So after 10 days of Headspace, you can see a 14% decrease in stress. After 3 weeks, you can see a 57% decrease in aggression. After 30 days, you're 11% more resilient. And also, you'll have a 21% increase in compassion after 3 weeks of Headspace. So this is how the product looked, probably when I joined. And a lot of it is still looking like this. I'm just about to take you through the brand evolution, but this is us before. So here you'll see the library on the left, where you can choose lots and lots of different types ways into meditation. Then we've got our sleep cast that you'll see in the middle, and then on the right you'll see some guided runs. But basically what we've done over the years, we've evolved the product and more recently. So we started as an eyes closed guided meditation product, but now there's many ways that you can get some headspace from, as I say, walking meditations and stretching and guided runs and sleep casts. And we've got other product features that I'm going to go through that we've launched recently. So the first kind of piece of work I'm going to take you through, and this was the first kind of creative project that I led at Headspace, is this brand evolution. And this really was, as I said before, I was like an observer of the brand over many years, and was always talking to the guys and pushing talent their way and helping them kind of evolve the brand from the outside. And when I came in, I just felt that we had maybe got a little bit too complicated, and we weren't necessarily communicating visually in the best way that we could. And even here, you'll see on the right-hand side the old logo, which feels slightly dated now, but also you can't read it when it gets too small. So we updated it and just made it feel a little bit more simple and bolder and possible to read. Another thing that we'd fallen into is our color palette had 84 colors in it, which anyone who works with brands knows that you kind of need a little bit more simplicity and consistency with that. So we made a big decision early on that we love orange. So orange is kind of our lead color at the brand, and you'll see that through all of the work. You'll be sick of orange by the time I finish this presentation.
And Caroline, just to interrupt, I know you're mentioning a lot of your contribution and the first things that you started working on when you joined Headspace. But as a chief creative officer, how does your role kind of span throughout? Because I feel and I can see this at Adobe, for example, that creativity is everywhere. And where do you put boundaries to your role, and how was that defined, and where do you get involved in terms of decision making?
Can I just say I'm loving your interruptions. I really enjoy it because it gives me a breath of fresh air. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, keep going. But thank you. Well, the easiest way for me to describe it is like my role at Headspace, or the value that I add at Headspace, is the same that I had done in agency life. So I give an opinion and a point of view. I try and direct the work and stay true to the brand, and I try and inject huge ambition and creativity in everything I see, but there's literally no end. It's just, and that's why it's so exciting. So I will give a creative point of view on anything from signage around the office to a BBC TV show to a 60-second TV ad to the way that people navigate the product, to what the Olympian is wearing in the workout video, to the music in the background. I mean, honestly, like to the way that we illustrate a sleep cast, to, I mean, what am I on at the moment? We're doing we're doing actually it will be our first kind of evergreen brand work. So then it's much more kind of traditional creative direction, like back to my old style, the type of work that I was looking at. But really, I mean, I've given a point of view on a speaker this week. I've given a point of view on a water bottle. Also like the way that we brand our podcasts. I mean, it really, and then a big part, and I'm going to talk about it later on, is how we bring the brand to life in partnerships with other brands. So then that's kind of, there's big stuff and small stuff, but it's all good stuff. It's just lovely to have that huge variety with which to apply my creativity and my ambition for the brand.
Caroline, can I just ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, can I just ask, how important is color space in your offices and stuff? I know you've got the orange. How do the colors affect the mood and the mindfulness of creativity?
I wish I was there. I wish I could show you. It's so beautiful. We have this incredible office. We call it HQ in Santa Monica. And the space itself is really big and open and white and bright, and lots of kind of natural materials, lots of wood and plants and cork, open space, lots of inside-outside space. So really it's more of a blank canvas. And then we have a couple big murals on the wall that look like this crazy stuff that I'm going to show you. But really the HQ itself is very, very light and bright and airy. Just again, like this opening up of space that I talked about at the beginning. And then I guess we bring the color, right, when we come in.
Cool.
And to get a sense of scale as well, I was reading a little bit about, the funding and how, this all grew for Headspace, but how many of you are there? Ties into Gavin's question as well, and because you seem to be involved in so many projects and aspects of getting this running, creativity wise, and how big is your team? How big is Headspace at the moment, and what is the ambition?
Yeah, we have around the world. I think we've got like between 350 and 400 people. The HQ, as I said, is in Santa Monica, but we have an office in San Francisco, New York, London, Paris at the moment. But as we expand globally, and also like during these current times, I've got people everywhere right now because people have needed to go home and be with their family or had to make difficult decisions about where they need to be based. So right now we're everywhere. But yeah, the whole team's between 350 and 400. My team right now is probably about 40 people, and that consists of illustrators, animators, brand designers, copywriters. I also have the social impact team in my team. I have a brand ambassador in my team. But yeah, about 40 people in my own team.
Is it important that all of your staff have a strong interest in meditation?
I mean, we don't mandate it, Gavin, but something that's very really special about Headspace is everyone seems to have their own story of why they're there, whether it's their own personal experience of mindfulness meditation and Headspace, or whether someone in their life has been really affected by using Headspace and that's brought them to the company. But you know, having worked in agencies for so long, and we all admire agencies, and we all have, you know, there's legends that work in all the agencies and there's great work, but what brings people to Headspace is something different, and it's good and bad, you know, because everyone takes everything so personally, because like Headspace changed their lives or did something huge for their sister or whatever. So it is it's really unique how personal and passionate everyone is about where we work.
Cool.
And you mentioned this a couple of times as well in terms of the current situation and what it was before, but how has that affected connection with your employees and you know, everyone else in the team and within the company? And being an online, you know, platform, obviously there are advantages to being, you know, highly advanced tech-wise, but I wonder how that's been affecting you as well.
Yeah, I'll speak to the work that we've been doing around it later on in my presentation. But in terms of the team, it's evolved over the 6 months that we've been in lockdown. So like when it started, I was like, I gotta check in with you all every single day, and we're gonna have quizzes and blah, blah, blah. And they're all a bit like, all right, okay, you probably don't need to be that full on
at all. Yeah.
But I don't know, we kind of have got used to this Zoom land, and we do a lot of Slacking and WhatsApping and Instagramming, and we have a thing called Bonusly. I don't know if anyone knows what Bonusly is, but like if someone does a good job at work, you give them points and stuff. So there's lots of Bonusly events that go on. But yeah, it's been tough, and some people need constant connection, and some people just want to be left alone. Some people really miss the office, and some people are really relieved that they can sit down and have some time to focus. But yeah, personally for me, I can't believe I've survived, because I love people and I love showing off all the time. So this was a real lesson in, okay, maybe I don't have to parade around the office showing off all the time. Maybe I'll be okay.
I love that. Yeah, I think it's taken everyone a bit of time to adjust, but also to reflect on what we actually enjoyed in the office and making those changes. Yeah. And I'm really interested to seeing how Headspace has been involved within the community in helping during those times, because it has been a really challenging year in terms of mental health and you know, social distancing and connection to others. So yeah, feel free to carry on. We've interrupted enough.
That's great. I love it. So here we were talking about our lack of consistency with the brand. So orange is our kind of key color here, and this just gives you kind of an insight into where it was when I joined and what we did about it. The business had got into a really bad habit of anytime anyone needed anything, they just invented a new character. And that's brilliant, because we've got lovely illustrators and animators that can do that. But what that means is you get really lazy and you just reinvent all the time. And then you've just got these like one-use characters. And again, as I said before, there's no consistency. So what we did basically is just zoom in. And this is kind of our hero today. So we keep character as an idea, but we don't have characters to illustrate everything. So my team just put together some examples of how this comes to life in the real world, if you like. So just very much simpler, much more graphic, staying truer to less than 84 colors, and just bringing a little bit of joy everywhere that we can. And here you'll see it in the product as well. So you could compare the one before at the beginning when I had it scrolling, and then this is much more kind of the sense of where we are now. The second kind of project I wanted to talk about again, and how we kind of unleash our creativity at Headspace, is this is Healthy Happy America. Bearing in mind that this was launched in November 19, and the plan was every quarter, so every 3 months, we would take Headspace to a different city in America and give the community an in real life experience of the app. So we did this in Pittsburgh. I loved it so much. I was so happy and I was so excited. And then we were due to go to Chicago, and then we were due to go elsewhere as well. And obviously that's not happened, but don't worry, it will come back. But I just wanted to show how an online kind of tech wellness brand comes to life in real life. So this is what we lovingly call the dot, and this is an inflatable structure that we built in partnership with Halo, the experiential agency, and Sebastian Kite, this incredible artist that they brought on board. And basically it splits into 5 different sections to bring to life the 5 different kind of pillars of Headspace. And we put it in Shenley Plaza, which is kind of the central, very loved square in the middle of Pittsburgh. So you'll see inside, we got up to all sorts of things. This is Andy. This is Andy here in the middle. And this is just kind of a very small selection of the Pittsburghers who wanted to meet him. And we were doing live meditations every hour on the hour. And we would have Andy to run those meditations. We had here this man says, "Thank you, Mr. Headspace." Also, we could only have 250 capacity at a time. So we had speakers outside. So people were actually just sitting out in the freezing cold sunshine, meditating as well. We hosted a warm-up with Andy, so like a stretching and warm-up meditation. And then we'd actually written bespoke guided runs for Pittsburgh itself. So all of the runners came to the dot, stretched with Andy, went on this guided run around their own town, and then came back and kind of wound down with us again. We had a play space. So one of the other pillars of Headspace is to play, so free play, which often as adults we just don't take the time to do, and we forget how to just play really freely. So we had these really weird balloons. That's actually Sebastian there, that's the artist. And they were like half helium, half oxygen. So they just floated in the air. So they didn't go up and down. They were just like there in the air. They were magic. And people would stay for hours and just like in wonder of these balloons. Lots of kids we invited local schools to come and be the first people to try the dot. Sleep is a huge part of our product offering. And sleep casts are kind of our idea there, which are these non-linear stories. So you tune into a sleep cast and it just tells you the story and takes you into a world. But being non-linear, you're not holding out for what happens or for what the twist is. Therefore, you kind of just are lulled into sleep. And here this is the final part of our activity in Pittsburgh. So let me just move this out the way. So here you've got a local author. She wrote a story all about Pittsburgh, and she was reading that live along with a violinist and Scott, who's our kind of music master at Headspace. So there was all this ambient sound and music going on, and then 250 people falling asleep. And what was really lovely is we actually had one of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Juju, asleep in the tent, and no one knew. And so when everyone woke up, he woke up and he was there, and they were all very excited about that. We did a little app. We had a little app as well that you could, if you go on the screen and smile, all of these lovely faces, a filter, that came around you. And then obviously we invited the whole of Pittsburgh to come to the dot. So this is just one example of some of the advertising that we did as well. And Be Kind to Your Mind is kind of a line that we use a lot across a lot of our work to really get the idea across.
This is a branding dream, Caroline. I just would say it's so nicely rounded, just in terms of how full out you guys went with the whole, initiative.
Oh my God, Emma, this
really
is nothing. This is nothing. I have such a massive presentation. I'm just so proud of the work and the way that the business supported this as our kind of pilot. But yeah, we had all sorts of stuff going on in Pittsburgh. It was really amazing. And the response from the community to experiencing the brand in real life was phenomenal. The next thing I was going to talk about is brand partnerships, and as much as my own personal love for the brand, to unlock creativity with brand partners was something that really drew me to the job, if I'm honest. Historically, we'd done more bundling partnerships. I think Nike was probably our most successful partnership. I mean, early on, we partnered with Selfridges, Virgin and The Guardian, and they really helped us kind of take off as a brand. But later on, I think Nike's probably one of our most successful ones. We have Nike guided runs in the Nike Run Club app. So Andy and Coach Bennett take you on a run, and that's worked really well for us. But I was very interested to really push these partnerships and see each one as a creative brief and how the brand could come to life with different people. So I've just got some examples here of the latest ones we've done. So Sesame Street, what a dream. But we've made 6 episodes with Sesame Street on their YouTube channel called Monster Meditations. And this is a chance for very, very young kids to understand how they're feeling and maybe get a little bit of help with how they're feeling, whether they're feeling anxious or they need help getting a little bit more patient, etc. But everyone loves Sesame Street, but also we've all just started using them personally. Like there's one where Cookie Monster can't wait for his cookies to cook. So Andy explains to him about patience and gives him like a little technique.
This is not only for children. That's a lie.
No,
This is
completely selfish. This is all just for us. Yeah, exactly. Another one recently, very close to my heart, is Snapchat. So we wanted to see how we could provide headspace to under 18s, and we partnered with Snapchat, who are very very clear in their intention to look after the mental health of their audience. So we teamed up to create a Snap Mini for them where you could basically get Headspace Lite in the product. So we curated based on Snap research about what young people really need help with. We curated a number of mini meditations, like 3-minute meditations, for them to do, to share, to do with their friends, and also provided memes and stickers and all sorts of ways that people could bring Headspace into their chat and also share Headspace out from the product.
This little overlap with social media is really interesting because you're making the online world a positive place when so often, I think recently as well, you're seeing a lot of the audience and viewers and all of us just switching off from social media and finding it a difficult place where, we're taking Instagram breaks and YouTubers are taking YouTube breaks and all of that and consuming content that's not necessarily valuable to us. But somehow we can also go to this online world and get something positive. And, for example, Snapchat is a really good example of bringing that positive place for the community, which is really, really nice to see.
Yeah, Andy always says, tech isn't the enemy. It's our relationship with tech that we have to be careful about.
Yeah.
And also our responsibility as a brand is to ensure that if we do come up in someone's feed, we're adding value to their day, maybe asking them to take a moment rather than just loading them up with more scary stuff.
Yeah.
Barbie, the number one toy brand on YouTube. Barbie has so many followers and subscribers. It's actually amazing. So we teamed up with. Yeah,
it's changed a lot since I was a child.
No, 9 million subscribers. Barbie's got 9 million
ridiculous.
Subscribers on YouTube. So, and the I have following is really loyal. And again, she just gives a really positive message. And we've all watched as that brand has evolved. And actually, when I went to Mattel and met them to hear their story of how the brand has evolved. And the role that it plays now in culture is just like phenomenal, amazing. And we teamed up with them just to bring health and happiness to this younger audience and teaching kindness and self-confidence to young girls and boys, I'd like to point out. So yeah, we've had a huge response to this partnership as well. Another really important audience for us to bring Headspace to. And then most recently, we launched as one of the first partners of Halo. So Halo is Amazon's wearable device, and it measures all the things that you can imagine and then serves up things that might help you, even to tone of voice. So if it hears that you're stressed out, it can serve you up a Headspace meditation.
Wow.
So currently there are 20 kind of Headspace meditations or exercises within the Halo app. So now on to something I alluded to earlier, which was our response to COVID. So we built out a platform called the Headspace Promise. We did this in partnership with 21CB and Gut out of Miami. And this really was bringing together some of the activities that we've been doing already and then really leveling them up to be an ongoing commitment to caring for the mental health of America, specifically helping those who need it most. So this is some stuff that we were doing at the beginning of COVID. So we actually, our last day in the office was the 12th of March. 13th of March, everyone had to go in and get their stuff. And then we were done. By the 16th of March, which is the Monday, we'd built out Weathering the Storm. So really everyone had gone, staff, home, work. And we built out Weathering the Storm, which was curated content available to everyone for free all over the world in the app and online, which was really headspace to help you cope with what the hell was going on in the world. To help you be calm, to be less anxious, to feel more resilient, to understanding change. And really what we can offer is perspective. So we can't cure COVID and we can't say everything's going to be okay, but we can help you think slightly differently about the situation that you find yourself in. So Weathering the Storm was the first thing we did. Fast following that, we provided headspace for all the frontline workers. So for the NHS, and also the frontline workers, healthcare workers here and in France. And then Governor Cuomo got in touch, his team got in touch to see if we could put together something specifically for New Yorkers. Because if you remember at the beginning, New York was one of the most hard hit cities. Yeah. So he reached out and we put something together with him, curating and creating original content with Andy for New York. And then, when was this? This was May. So 1 month in, as a business, we had watched kind of the knock-on effects of COVID, and unemployment at the time this went out was at 40 million in the States. So we decided as a business to give Headspace free to anyone who'd found themselves unemployed at that time. And we did a huge campaign to let everybody know that this is available. So I just wanted to share one of the TV ads.
We're in this crisis together, but it affects each of us differently. Some of us feel trapped, others isolated. Most just wish we had a bit more space. Healthcare providers struggle just to keep their heads above water. Parents have become substitute teachers overnight, no breaks, no recess included. And many of those without jobs feel lost, stressed out, and anxious. Our mental health is suffering, and most of us just don't know how to deal with it. But we can try, with tools to look after our minds. Mindful workouts for those feeling trapped. A moment to breathe for healthcare providers who need care too. Solutions to sleep more soundly because, let's face it, we'd all like to. And now we're helping unemployed Americans get back on their feet. Headspace can't fix everything, but it can help you cope with today and whatever tomorrow might bring. Be kind to your mind at headspace.com.
That's great.
We're in.
Yeah.
And then that was part of a kind of a through the line campaign, I guess, one of our first, where we were across, the message was across everywhere and everything. And then that offer went out to the UK as well later on. Aware of time, guys, I'm going to run out of time.
No.
And then here's a little look at where we are now. As I've said before, sleep is a hugely important part of our product. It's a really, really popular way for people to get some headspace on top of eyes closed guided meditation. We also recently launched Move Mode, which is a way to train your body and mind at the same time. And we've got two ex-Olympians here, Kim and Leon, that take you through all sorts of exercises, whether it's courses or one-off workouts to do at home. And then finally, we introduced our Chief Music Officer a few weeks ago, John Legend. So we're working with him to create all of our focus playlists. Again, because everyone's working from home, we need all the help we can get in terms of, getting our heads down and focusing sometimes. So that's been another really exciting kind of another way for you to get some headspace.
Can I just ask,
That's
Caroline?
exactly what I need. I love this.
Your meditations incorporate different frequencies like 528, 432, stuff like that?
They don't at the moment. We've had a number of conversations about how to incorporate kind of that. And I think as we get more and more involved in music, I mean, music's been a huge part of Headspace always. And you saw that little picture of Scott in the background in Pittsburgh. And he's an absolute genius when it comes to music, and he's done a lot of sound work with Andy and how we can bring more interesting different sounds. He's built out these 360 microphones, so whenever Andy goes out into the wilderness, you get that kind of 360 sense of where he was. But yeah, lots and lots of experimentation coming down the line, but this is the first time we've really brought music to the forefront.
Okay.
And it's a super exciting time for us. So that's kind of what we call on platform. So that's within the product. And then I just wanted to show a couple of really exciting projects that the Headspace studio teams have been working on. So Radio Headspace, yet another way for you to get Headspace. So this is like a few minutes every morning. We release a new episode, and it's Andy just kind of having reflections and giving you exercises to do just to kind of deal with everyday life. And what we're all going through at the moment. So it's really timely, it's very bite-sized, and we've had nearly 5 million downloads of Radio Headspace already. So it's been a phenomenal success for us, and it just shows that there's an appetite for Headspace over and above, doing your meditation practice. And that's super exciting for us, how many different ways we can deliver it to people. And then finally, this project that we've done with the BBC. So this is 4 episodes out on BBC4 called Mindful Escapes. And we, working in partnership with the BBC, use Planet Earth footage, and then we put Andy's voice and reflections and ways of seeing the world over the top. So a very different TV experience. But yeah, again, just another exciting way for people to get some headspace.
Can I just ask, Caroline, how easy or hard was it for you to get into the practice of meditating?
Well, I was really, again, I was super lucky because I had that kind of one-to-one experience with Andy early on. But the daily habit is the key. If you can find a way to fit it into your day, so at Headspace, everyone coming together at 10 a.m., that's kind of my top tip, I guess, is try and make it part of your everyday routine. A lot of people do it before they even get out of bed, just to make it, you got to fit it in. That's the key. But again, like when I'm getting ready in the bathroom, I'll also listen to Radio Headspace, or I'll listen to it in the car when I'm going to work, in the car on the way to work. But yeah, this is what I find really exciting. Number one, within the product, different forms of Headspace, whether it's working out or sleep casts or focus music with John Legend, and then outside of the app as well, different ways I can bring it into my life in different forms.
Cool, excellent.
And then that's me done, because now I'm just giving. So this is my personal code. So anyone who's tuned in can go to headspace.com and put CP20, and then they get a free trial of Headspace so they can enjoy the benefits.
Brilliant. Oh, I love this. It's so refreshing to see. And definitely, I think everyone's, tuning in will need a little bit of a break to get onto Headspace and try it out. And I'm just really fascinated by everything that you guys have done from start to finish, and getting involved even with real life events. I think getting involved with community in real life is really tricky at the moment, and that's something that I'm sure we all really crave in terms of connection. So I hope this picks up for all of you. But how are you seeing mental health changing ahead of the end of the year and next year, and what are the plans for Headspace? I know you bounced off really quickly from everyone working from home, but how is that changing? And now that this new normal is accepted by all of us, how is the future looking for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, generally speaking, and also for myself, we've been forced to stop and look inside ourselves. Some of us for the very first time ever. A lot of isolation, a lot of downtime, a lot of reflection has made people realize that maybe they've been neglecting their mental health. So the need for quick, easy tools to look after your mental health has grown hugely over the time that we've been in lockdown. So personally, but also businesses have wanted to look after their employees who are now all over the place and stuck at home and often struggling to juggle family life, working from home. Many of the people at Headspace live with flatmates, so, and all of their jobs are equally important. So how do you manage that? So personally, we've seen consumers need more help, and also businesses use us as a tool to look after their customers as well. And we've seen this kind of, first of all, it was panic, and then it was anger, and now it's exhaustion. And now we've certainly in the US, we've got the election coming up, so that's going to be a real source of stress and anxiety. Then we have New Year, which we always see a kind of a spike in New Year because we all have good intentions and New Year's resolutions. And how can we make that even more meaningful next year because of the disaster that is 2020? So for us, it's just, I think, given us an opportunity to be more helpful maybe than we've ever been able to be before, because people have started to recognize that they need to look inwards.
Yeah, something I think I really learned from working in London was that the conversation of mental health is more and more accepted and normalized as something okay to talk about, especially in the workplace. And do you feel that this is noticeable, and especially with this year that we're also talking about it more easily, and we're saying, look, if I need help, there is all of these resources and these options. And at least at Adobe, I feel like we're very much supported in terms of just resources in general and different shapes and forms of what getting support is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're nowhere near where we need to be. I need mental fitness to be as popular as going to the gym, and people showing off that they look after their mental health and see a therapist and are very open. Like, I've always been very open about talking about my anxiety and depression because I feel that people need to know it's usual. So I think the taboo has diminished somewhat, but we're nowhere near where we need to be. I mean, I don't know about over there in the UK, but here, online therapy, app-based therapy, text-based therapy has just become like everywhere, and which is brilliant because people need as much help as they can possibly get. But it's definitely more headliney now that people are looking after their mental health. Celebrities are talking about it a lot more, but it's nowhere near. We don't look after our minds the way that we look after our bodies, and until we do, we just still have work to do.
True.
Absolutely. And also, I don't know, Gavin, if you had a question on that one, or I'm a bit curious. Yeah.
I think the kid stuff you've got is really good, because I've got a little 6-year-old boy. I've been talking to my wife trying to work out how can we get him to understand meditation in a very simplistic way. And I think what you've got there is fantastic, so I'll be trying that out.
Oh, thanks, Gabby. And there's loads of, in the app actually, there's like 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 9 to 12 or something. So different practices for different ages, Sesame Street. And then we're just about to embark on 2 huge projects actually with tech platforms to create 2 series for kids. So there'll be loads more stuff coming out.
That's it. Yeah, because I'm just a big believer of, what kids do now before the age of 7, it'll stay with them when they're older. So I just want to get him into the habit of doing it right now, so I don't have to fight when he turns 17. Because I never had the opportunity to do this when I was younger. I'm still trying to get into the habit of it now. So I just, I think what we've got there is great. So.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Gavin. And our whole social impact strategy is around preparing the next generation. So providing headspace for the next generation, K through 12, so 0 to 18, and making sure that it's available in schools, making sure that we're partnering with the right brands that kids are listening to. And as you say, exactly for your son, to get them into a mindfulness practice like a fitness practice where it just becomes ordinary to look after your mind. So we can set up the next, too late for our generation maybe, but we can set up the next generation to really have it as a priority.
100%. Yeah.
And I really like there's this education piece within that. And you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation that you also do a lot of research, which I find really interesting. And, there is also this school of thought where, you start thinking, well, oh, it's meditation and does it really help? And I really like that you are able to provide data on that as well. And like Tim was mentioning before the call, data obsession, but, there is proof that, you do benefit from this and that it's an investment that's only 10 minutes of your day sometimes, that you will get a huge output from. So yeah. Great. I'm also, just to wrap up as well, just going back to yourself, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your own creative path and what advice you have for anyone who's watching, and the next generation of creatives. I know this is a really difficult time this year in terms of even predicting the job market, graduating and getting started, but what is your general advice for career starts and challenges and just getting to where you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky with the people I was surrounded with throughout my career, and they really, they either drove me crazy and pushed me further or made me feel brilliant and pushed me further. But I will say that if ever I felt that I was being restricted and not given the opportunities I wanted, then I just took myself out of that situation and moved on to the next one. I don't really think things through, and I think that's really helped me. Like, if I ever really thought it through, I wouldn't have left Watford and moved to Amsterdam in 48 hours and started a Kessels Kramer. If I'd have really thought things through, I wouldn't have left Mother and gone to BBH when I did and taken on Levi's as my first creative director job. If I'd really thought things through, I wouldn't have moved to California. Like, it's madness. So
I agree with that.
Thank you. Like, trusting, like, my gut is that's my job, right? Like, obviously experience, but when I see some work or I see an idea, my gut tells me if it's good or not. And I think I just follow my gut with everything and everyone I do. I'm very instinctive and spontaneous, and that's served me okay so far.
It's a mark of success, that is. It is.
Yeah,
because they say people who are successful, they make quick decisions.
Yeah, some might say too quick, but
too spontaneous. But actually, there's something to mindfulness that's related to that and meditation, because meditation does bring focus and just a little bit more clarity as well, which I have felt in my life. And I know you mentioned the playlist, for example, for just being at home and working from home, and all of us doing this now. That's the first thing I'll jump on in terms of just getting a bit more support on how to just focus on a task. And we're this generation who's constantly doing 5 things at the same time, being on 5 screens at the same time, and I think that's something that really positive that can be brought to life through meditation.
Well, you need to normally we physically move ourselves from home space to workspace, right? So you have those boundaries and those kind of different stages that you need to perform on, whereas now I parent and I eat and I clean and I cook and I don't cook, I'm a terrible cook, and I work and I present and everything happens in exactly the same space. So how do you change your focus how do you flip from those different roles that you're playing? And I think music is a huge way. Headphones and music is a way that you can go, okay, now I'm in this zone, but it's tough.
Brilliant. No, totally agree. And I think we're pretty much coming up to time. So it's a great way to get everyone focused after the stream and to get back into their zone, whatever you were doing at home. But I hope everyone watching enjoyed that, especially the little meditation at the beginning. But it was really refreshing to chat to you today. Any final words, Caroline?
Good luck to everyone, and stay safe and stay healthy and wear a mask and go onto Headspace and get yourself some Headspace.
Brilliant. And thanks, Gavin, as well. Any final thoughts? Thanks for joining. Yeah,
it's been good. It's been an eye opener. I'll be checking this app out in about 5 minutes time.
Yeah. We're all on it.
Yeah. So that's all good fun.
Brilliant. Well, thanks everyone. And we'll be back next month with another session and a fantastic speaker in partnership with D&AD. But it's been great having you and wishing you all a great Tuesday. Thanks everyone. Bye.